After what seems like a short but busy month, the time has come again for the Community Redraw, where I take submitted artwork by you, the community, and I redraw them in my style, sometimes adding a twist, sometimes just redrawing them. But anyway, let's bring these illustrations to life.
Hey, Erronfold, are you ready to meet this fella? We need to get his help to put a stop to that Ben 10 from Earth 666. If we don't, Loki won't have anything to fear or anyone to stop him.
Well now, Nexum, I hope this pal of yours can help. Otherwise, this be a wasted trip, and I don't think the boys back at the Department of Multiversal Matters can take too long a time.
Last time I checked, this guy's an expert in advanced neuro advancements in the mind and stuff. You know, intelligence and whatnot. Rumour has it, he hasn't interacted with a living soul in a few years. Best let me do the talking with my old pal when we meet up.
If you say so, lad. Though, can we speed this up? My old bones long for an adventure, and this seems to be a bit on the boring side.
Nexum and Erronfold made their way to a secure and remote set of ruins on the outskirts of the Kamahara jungle, a place that had nothing special to the untrained eye, but held a hidden secret. It was within these ruins that an entrance to a secret laboratory was located, the place where Nexum's old acquaintance could be found. After entering the ruins, Nexum headed over to an ordinary-looking rock by a tree on the side of a ruined building. He lifted a section of the rock, and a panel opened with a keypad. After typing a code, the door to the lab opened up.
Well, I'll be. Looks like this little venture isn't as boring as good old Erronfold thought. Well, it's still boring, though this is quaint surprise.
As the pair entered, a strange blue light scanned them. Not thinking of it as anything but a simple scan, Nexum continued into the lab with Erronfold, before coming to a large room and what appeared to be a rather large pile of scrapped robotic parts near the door on the other side.
Hey, Erronfold, come take a look at this. Wonder if we can take some on the way out. Might be a few good parts to make some mech armors or something here.
It was in that moment that the pile of what appeared to be scrap in front of Nexum started to move, as a glowing red robotic eye could be seen in the depths of the rubble, lifting higher and higher as a thin robotic frame could be seen towering above the two, 4 makeshift arms with claws at each end, as well as 4 metallic insect-like legs. Its full height stood at 14 feet tall, and as the light from outside the opened entrance illuminated the room more and more, a rather unusual object could be seen filling the other areas of the room. The object was potatoes.
Well, Nexum. Appears we have something that's right up your alley. 'Tis a fine mechanical beastie you found there, though it doesn't seem to like visitors. And on another note, Nexum, my pal, what's with all these potatoes all over the place?
No idea, though I think potatoes are the least of our worries. This giant mechanical beast, as you called it, doesn't seem to be too happy to see us in here. I think we need to figure out how to get past this guy.
Nexum and Erronfold started to move back, increasing the distance between them and this mechanical beast. As it moved its arm up in the air, Erronfold poised himself ready to leap forwards and attack the giant foe standing before him. But in that instance, a loud sound filled the room. The light of the entrance began to flicker with shadows as the room went dark. For a moment, the sound of flapping could be heard echoing throughout. When the light returned, the tall figure was covered in birds. Although, strangely, the giant mechanical creature was still and unable to move. The birds had come from, well, where that was still a mystery. However, as luck would have it, the strange event had cleared the way for Nexum and Erronfold to continue further into the lab. In the next section of the lab, the room was smaller than the previous one, and the lab seemed to be taking our pair deeper underground the further along they went. The walls of the room were covered in a layer of black soot, with what looked like piles of ash along the floor and on the lights. From what light remained in the room, a figure could be seen by the door to the next area. A figure with glowing red eyes. As he moved his head forwards, it was clear he had a little to no hair, and his skin was greyish in colour with what looked like cracks along it.
What have we here? Looks like this fella doesn't have the nicest of intentions, does he? Though that suits me just fine. I was looking forward to facing that mechanical beastie, but at the last minute those birds came out of nowhere and stopped it before I could turn it into scraps.
Hate to say it, but I think you're right. Judging by that flame on his arm. Wait, there's a flame on his arm? And this room is covered in soot or ash. You sure you can handle this guy, or fire for that matter?
Aye, lad. 'Tis no different than fighting a dragon or other fire-wielding beast. 'Tis a fine challenge before me.
At that moment, the figure stood up and smirked at Erronfold. In an instant, his head and arms set ablaze as the two were poised to fight. Nexum took a step back and made as much distance as he could. He didn't want to be a part of this fight if he could avoid it. It seemed to be too much of a hassle to get involved if he didn't have to. And at this point, Erronfold was in one of his moods where, unless he could spar at least, he'd become a pain to deal with. As the figure who was now best described as a pyromancer or pyrokinetic, one who can manipulate fire, Although once a regular human, this fella had a second chance at life, but the cost was to consume fires and to keep a small flame alive around his body at least. This meant, as long as part of the flame was still alive, he was effectively immortal. However, a little thing like immortality wasn't something to stop Erronfold from a fight. In fact, the prospect of an opponent who can't die in battle, this motivates Erronfold even more to fight all out, without fear of the battle ending too soon. To a battle junkie like Erronfold, an immortal or near immortal opponent is like a gift from the heavens. As the figure raised his arm that was now completely ablaze with flames, a large ball of fire began to form from it. He looked at Erronfold with a grin and threw the fireball at him. Erronfold smirked back and used his spear to deflect the fireball aside. Unfortunately, the fireball was heading straight for Nexum. He jumped out to the side at the last minute after realising what was going on.
Hey, watch it with your Erronfold. Nearly had Nexum à la flambe over here.
Sorry about that, Nexum, my pal. Fought with your mech armors and whatnot. I'm sure you can handle a little bit of heat.
Point taken. It won't take you long, will it? I don't remember all these characters last time I was here. And we're on a time limit.
In response, Erronfold leapt with a spear at the flaming figure, swinging down with his aim true to take out his foe in one hit. However, his foe caught the spear and started to turn up the heat with the intensity of his flames. So much so that Erronfold started to sweat. The two were evenly matched in strength, and this battle wasn't going anywhere fast. Just at this point, a cloud of white dust-like fog engulfed the pair. When it cleared, Erronfold could see his opponent laying unconscious on the floor. Turning around, he could see Nexum with a smile on his face, and the arm of a mech armor with a set of tubes on it. Annoyed and somewhat impressed by Nexum's interference, the pair moved on to the next room, wondering how much longer until they meet with the owner of the lab to get what they came for. As they entered the next room, the pair were confused. Before them, in a stasis tube, was a young girl. As they approached, they could see a mechanical cybernetic dragon, known as a worm, attached to a device around the stasis chamber. As Nexum and Erronfold examined the strange scene, they weren't sure what to make of it. Was this girl being kept in stasis for her own safety? Or was she being used for some nefarious purpose? And what was the purpose of the worm attached to the stasis chamber? Nexum cautiously approached the device, examining it for any clues as to its function. Erronfold, meanwhile, kept a watchful eye on the room, ready to defend them both from any potential threats. As Nexum examined the device, he noticed a small panel on the side covered in blinking lights and strange symbols. He began to press various buttons and flip switches in an attempt to learn more about it. Suddenly, the worm began to stir, its eyes glowing bright red as it slowly detached itself from the stasis chamber. Erronfold leapt into action, brandishing his spear and prepared for battle. But there was no need for violence. As the worm approached, it began to emit a strange humming noise, and suddenly the girl's eyes snapped open. Nexum and Erronfold stepped back in surprise as the girl emerged from the stasis chamber, looking dazed and confused. As she took in her surroundings, she began to mutter to herself in a language that neither Nexum nor Erronfold could understand. Suddenly, the worm emitted another hum, and the girl's eyes widened in recognition. She began to speak in a language that Nexum and Erronfold could understand, explaining she had been kept in stasis and was a guard to prevent anyone going further into the lab. Without a moment's notice, the worm howled and lunged at Nexum, before stopping rather suddenly. The girl was looking at the worm with a green cybernetic eye glowing. The worm returned to her side, and she continued to tell Erronfold and Nexum that she was bored of guarding the lab and had a grudge with the gatekeeper of the next area. She asked to join them so she can finish her unsettled business. A bit wary and on guard, Erronfold and Nexum decided to let the girl and the worm join them. If anything, it would make getting to her goal faster, to have someone deal with the next gatekeeper of the lab. After resting and finding out a bit more about the girl, the group headed off deeper into the depths of the underground lab, onwards and forwards. As they entered the next room, it was covered in a black-like substance, and a strange mass of it moving next to what appeared to be two strange metallic objects in the corner of the room. After looking around the room, a voice could be heard calling the girl a traitor and asking what she was doing.
Who said that? And what's the deal picking on a little girl? Well, cybernetically altered little girl, but a little girl either way.
Aye, though, that wee lass looks a little bit of a handful, especially with that look in her eyes.
The room filled with laughter, and the moving black mass by the strange object started to grow upwards, and a strange shaped body appeared, with the tech objects over the shoulders. Within moments, it took on the shape of a humanoid figure, with the black ooze changing colour. It was clear that this gatekeeper was not going to be easy to deal with. However, Erronfold and Nexum were not intending to engage with this obstacle and instead left it to the cybernetic girl who had been quite adamant that her and her worm were going to handle this one, and that Nexum and Erronfold were not to interfere. As the worm launched a sudden attack on the strange humanoid, the two companions watched in awe. The gatekeeper was able to transform into a liquid-like form and easily evaded the worm's furious attack. It became apparent that the two were evenly matched, and a long stalemate ensued. The companions were left wondering how the battle would end. The girl raised her arm, which extended surprisingly to reach their foe. Despite her best efforts, she was only able to grasp one of the strange technical objects on the gatekeeper's shoulder. This did not immobilize the ink-like creature in any way. The creature continued to move fluidly, avoiding the girl's attacks with ease. The worm continued to attack the gatekeeper relentlessly, but to no avail. As the battle wore on, the companions grew increasingly intense, not sure what to do next. Suddenly, the worm was thrown against the nearby pipe, causing it to break and leak water. As the ink-like gatekeeper moved away from the water that had pooled on the floor, the companions saw an opportunity to gain the advantage. They quickly assessed the situation, trying to determine the next move. They realised that the water could be used to their advantage and began formulating a plan. Suddenly, the girl spoke up, her voice filled with determination. "I have an idea," she said. "I think I can use the water to immobilise the gatekeeper." They looked at each other, unsure whether or not the girl's plan would work. However, they knew they had to try something. The girl extended her arm once more, this time reaching the water that pooled on the floor. As she gathered the water, the gatekeeper moved closer, its eyes fixed on its prey. The girl launched the water at the gatekeeper with all her might, drenching it completely. The gatekeeper struggled to maintain its form, its body becoming more and more sluggish as it tried to evade the girl's attacks. The girl and the worm saw this as their opportunity and moved in quickly to finish the job. It was decided that only Erronfold and Nexum would continue further, in case the gatekeeper wanted to cause more trouble. It also seemed that they were getting closer to the lab where they were hoping to find what they were looking for. As they entered the next room, they noticed a sign above the door saying Lab Entrance. Nexum and Erronfold were distracted by this and both started to pick up the pace across the room. That was when the unthinkable happened. In their haste and while the guard was down, a flash of blue lightning filled the room. Once it had settled, Nexum was in disbelief.
Erronfold! How? Why? What happened? Erronfold, can you hear me? Erronfold!
Nexum rushed over to Erronfold, who was covered in intensive burns and scorch marks, while led motionless on the ground. As he got to Erronfold, he realised it was too late. Erronfold was not breathing, not moving, and had no signs of life. The seasoned adventurer, the slayer of beasts, was taken out by lightning while walking across a room. It wasn't even a battle or glorious tale that could be passed down. As Nexum was in disbelief holding Erronfold in his arms, he saw a blue spark in the corner of his vision, and without a moment's hesitation, hit the device on his arm where a mech armour covered his body as he jumped aside. Turning his head to see what attacked him, he was unprepared for what he saw next. It wasn't a trap in a room, nor was it some form of mech or person. Instead, it was a dinosaur. That's right, it was a raptor. But this one was different. It glowed with an electrical current through its body. As it opened its mouth, there was a build-up of lightning from the back of its throat. This was a terrifying sight in the shadows. The sharp teeth and large open mouth of this creature could be seen. It was not something Nexum was expecting, nor was it something he had any experience dealing with. Erronfold was the one who knew how to slay the beast they encountered, and Nexum was sure that if he hadn't been caught off guard, Erronfold would have been able to handle this creature easily. As he was lost in thought, he hesitated for a brief moment, and the raptor shot the lightning blast at Nexum. It hit him head on. The armour, taking the brunt of the blast, became immobile. This creature had bested both Erronfold and Nexum, and he was unable to move, unable to attract the armour around him. Nexum watched as the creature slowly made its way towards him, before leaping, its mouth wide and teeth razor sharp, wrapping around the head of the armour. The power of this creature's jaws slowly crushing the armour. The cracking sounds could be heard. As this was happening, Nexum was powerless to do anything with Erronfold laying there dead on the floor. He had one thought passing through his mind. It was of the moniker and what could have been. Seconds later, the armour gave way and the sharp teeth sliced into Nexum as he was devoured by the creature.
A few moments later.
What's going on? What happened? I could have swore that... Erronfold!
Nexum looked around and noticed he was laid on a table. As he turned his head, he could see Erronfold alive and sat up, holding his head, wondering what happened to them. Yes, alive you are. Success or failure? Not clear.
Huh?
Sit. I know you. From where? No, not that. No, not then. Where? Familiar face. No, can't be. Is it?
Hey Doc, it's me, Nexum. You know, we were in that jam a few years back and I helped you get that doohickey for your research. Kinda need a favour from you. Do you have one of those neuro thingamabobs?
Nexum. I did know a Nexum once. Can't be, can it? You're not lying, still my research. Yes, research, that's it. Why are you here if not to steal it? Wait. Neuro thingamabob, the neuro ampli deamplifier. Yes, it's where is it? No, not here, no. Not there, no. Where is it?
Nexum. Not that I know what's going on here, but what happened, and is this the fella you're on about? He seems a few dragons short of a horde.
Yeah, that's him. I'm not sure what's going on. He wasn't like this last time I saw him. Hey Doc, isn't this it? I'll take this and get out of your hair.
Hope you guys enjoyed the Community Redraw story this time. A lot of fun working on the artwork for this episode, and I think they came out really well. A special thanks, as always, goes to those that got picked. We've got Shazin, Stella Kitsune 874, Creepers Lover 416, Space Raptors Infinite, and Omen Heart, who went above and beyond actually building their submission. As always, thank you to everyone who submitted. All your artworks were amazing. I just wish I had time to do all of them in a redraw episode. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. Details for the next Community Redraw. This time, create your own creature. It could be based off an existing animal, it could be a digital creature, a alien creature, any type of creature really. Submit a little bit of information about its abilities and its habits. The submission deadline is the 19th of May. You can submit via Discord or sending into the email address. Both links are in the description below. I look forward to seeing all your submitted artwork. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out the other things on the channel? Or, if you want to see some more of the Community Redraws, you can follow the link here. Anyway, stay safe everybody. Catch you next time.